Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Jacques Samain. I'm a candidate, PhD candidate at Telecom and at Cisco. And I'm going here to present my some work we did as part of my PhD thesis on video delivery over ICN. So this work was done with Giovanna Carofiglio, Luca Muscariello, Michele Papalini, Mauro Sardara, Michele Tortelli and Dario Rossi. So first a bit of motivation. So the question we wanted to address is video going to break the network? So by 2020, 80% of the internet traffic is going to be off video traffic. And there is also what we see nowadays is that there is a shift in the consumption. So we are switching from video when you are watching it on your television on your sofa to a consumption, a mass consumption, so you can watch video everywhere on your smartphone, on your tablet, when you are in the subway, at the fast food, etc., etc. So in that way, we have more and more mobile video, thus raising a lot of network challenges. So they are listed here. So the first one is an incredibly higher and growing scale. The second one is an ever higher quality requirement. So you have 4K video, but now you have 8K video that are emerging, and also the virtual reality and the augmented reality is arriving on the market. So the third challenge is how to deal with heterogeneous access, so with Wi-Fi, with LTE, and also the higher mobility of the clients. And then the two last is support for different models, so unicast and multicast. And the fifth one is one we do not address in this work, is the security requirements. So here is an outline of my talk. So first I'll do a small introduction on what is ICN and which part of the video we are doing. So we are using MPEG-DASH, for instance. Then I will explain what we did with ICN to enhance the quality of experience and compare it to with respect to TCP. And then in the third part, I will present the current work we are doing. So for the introduction, so first, what is ICN? Then what is dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP? And then I'll talk about the adaptation logic that is a part of the dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP, which in short is DASH. So first, what is ICN, Information-Centric Networking? So Information-Centric Networking is a new networking paradigm where the name data is in the center. So you have a location-independent data. And how does it work? So you have two types of packets. So let me go back to this after. I'll give a small example here. So here you consider an ICN router that is here, and it has two ingress links and one egress link. So first, so as I said before, we have two kinds of packets in ICN. So we have an interest packet and data packet. And an interest packet will have a data packet that will match this interest packet. So on this interest packet, what you do is you put a name, so the name of the data. So here in this example, the name is CCNX column/video1. And what it does, so you send this packet inside the network, and then when the router receives the packet, it will look into a FIPS that is not represented here, and forward the packet on the egress node that corresponds to the FIB entry. And in ICN, what we do to retrieve the data is we have a PIT, so it's a pending interest table, in which the router keeps tracks on which interface the packets came from. So for instance, here the packets came from the link 2. So inside the PIT, it will add an entry with the name of the name requested and the face, and then it will forward it following the FIB entry. When the data packet come back, it will the router gets the data packet and will look into the PIT if there is a matching interest for this data packet. If there is not, it will drop it. If there is one, so in this case here you see that the interface on which the interest came is phase 2, so it will forward the data packet on the interface 2, and it will discard the pit entry. Okay, so now with ICN, what we get also is in-network caching. So this is another part. So if you send an interest packet, so in-network caching is done at the router. You have a content store. And when an interest packet arrives at the router, it will do a lookup in the content store for this interest. And if the data packet is present in the content store, it will just forward, send back the data packet on the ingress link where the interest came, and then it will not forward further the interest. Then we also have multicast possibilities. So for instance, if the data is not present in the content store, before forwarding the interest packet, the router will take a look in the pit entry here, and it will see, in our case here, it will see that it already received an interest for this particular name, and it was coming from interface 1, and this one came from interface 2. So instead of forwarding this interest and put a new entry in the pit entry, it will just add inside the pit entry for this name a new interface, and it will drop this interest. And when the data comes back from here, it will be sent on the two links, and so thus it achieves multicast. So with this we obtain a connectionless protocol, because you don't need anymore to establish connection with different hosts to get your content. So now let me talk about DASH. So how DASH works? It works on it's a progressive HTTP download of the video. And the main idea behind DASH is to dynamically adapt to the different parameters that you have in your network. So what we do with DASH is that we encode a single video into different qualities, depending on different qualities, so different bit rates, which are represented here in the video server. And you see that you have a low quality video in light blue, medium quality video in in green, and in dark green you have a high quality video. And then the video player here, so I forgot, the video is also chunked into a small segment of equal size, so of 2 second length most of the time. And so what we do here is that the video player, depending on different parameters that it will get as an input from the client, will select which bitrate to download. So the two main parameters that it will take into account is the buffer level, so how much segment are available to be displayed at the user end, and the rate estimation of the download. So if the rate estimation is low, then you won't select a high quality video, because then you might wait too long to get the particular segment. So let's talk about the adaptation logics. So the goal of the adaptation logic, as I said before, is to give to the user the best quality of experience, and we can classify them in three main categories, three main families. So the first family is buffer-based adaptation logic, which are based only on the on the buffer level on the client side. The second quality is rate-based, so they are solely based on the rate estimation at the client side. And the third family is a hybrid family when you mixed the two, so you have buffer level take into account on rate estimation also. So what we did in our work is we classified part of the existing adaptation logic. So for the buffer level, we took into account this column. For the rate estimation, this one, and for the hybrid one, we took both of them. And from this taxonomy, we selected three adaptation logic, one for each family. So for the buffer-based adaptation logic, we selected BOLA. I will explain a bit later what all these three adaptation logic work. For the rate-based, we selected PANDA, and for the hybrid, we selected AdapTech. So let's talk a bit about BOLA. So BOLA was proposed at Infocom in 2016 by Spiteri et al. And BOLA wants to is an utility maximization resolve an utility maximization problems. So what they want is to maximize this equation. So with Vn here, Vn, that is the average playback quality over n segment. Gamma is a weighting parameter, so you can actually decide which term is more important in this equation. And then you have Sn, which is the average playback smoothness, which is in fact the number of seconds you spend rebuffering. And so BOLA wants to keep the buffer as stable as possible, and there are different versions depending on what the user wants to optimize. So for PANDA, it was proposed by Lee et al. And in the GSAC journal in 2014, and it's inspired from the TCP congestion control. It's an IEMD-like bandwidth estimation. So the main observation that the author of PANDA did is that the throughput estimate is only accurate when the links are oversubscribed. Otherwise, you might have an estimation that may be not accurate, so it might be too high. So what they do is that they probe the available bandwidth and they schedule the segment request so that they ensure that the link is always oversubscribed. And at last but not least, we have AdapTech. So it's an hybrid strategy that was proposed by Akshabi et al. In 2012. And so what they do is that they divide the buffer in 3 zones. So you have here a picture of the buffer. So in zone 1, that is called the panic zone, you download at the lowest quality available. This is to avoid rebuffering events. And in zone 2, you compare the video bitrate to the instantaneous estimated throughput, and then you adjust the quality accordingly with a step of 1. So if you are downloading at the lowest quality, but the instantaneous estimated throughput is way higher, you can go to a higher quality. And in zone 3, which is the comfort zone, what you do is that you can only increase the quality by 1 if for the last 10 seconds, if for the last t seconds, sorry, the average throughput allowed it. So this means that for the last t seconds, the average throughput that you measured was higher than the bitrate of the next quality. So now I'm going to present the work that we did. So first I will present the test bed and the tool that we used along with the metrics. Then I will show how we used ICN to enhance the video experience over Wi-Fi. Then I'll talk a bit about the throughput estimation. Then how to use heterogeneous networks to enhance this video experience further. Then a summary, and then if we have some time, we can show you some videos. So first, the test bed that we use. So the topology that we have is like this. So we have 3 physical clients. So these are 2 tablets. We have one iPad and one Android tablet. Here we had a NUC, so a small computer, and all the rest of the nodes are emulated using LXC containers. So all of this was deployed using vICN, which is an orchestrator. That allows us to deploy emulated ICN nodes and also emulated radio channels. For instance, here we have Wi-Fi 802.11, and here we have LTE. And this is emulated thanks to vICN. And then, so for all the software that we use, they are all open sourced and, sorry. They are all open sourced. And as part of the CICN project, which is part of the FDIO project, and you can find all the information you want on this link. And there was a paper that was published in the last ICN conference by Mauro Sardara et al., which talks about vICN. And oh yeah, I forgot. We also implemented Viper, which is a full dual stack Dash player. So for the videos that we used 3 different videos, all open source. So there is a well-known Big Bug Bunny at this quality. So this dataset and part of the Tier of Steel dataset came from Stefan Lederer et al., which is a dataset for Dash that they deploy. And for Sintel, we did our own dataset here. Okay, so now the scenarios that we explored. So first, what we did a calibration of the 3 different adaptation logics that we chose to have the best performance possible. And then after that, we explored a multi-client scenario. So we had 6 clients that were downloading the videos. So either they were all on TCP, all using or they were all using ICN, or we had a mix of the two, so 3 on TCP and 3 on ICN. And the start also was either synchronous, so with ICN it enabled the multicast possibility with pit aggregation, or asynchronous to avoid this pit aggregation phenomenon. And then we focused on a single client, so either only connected to Wi-Fi, or connected to LTE, or connected to both. And we also used 3G or 4G. And for each scenarios, so the multi-client and the single client, we repeated the experiment for the 3 selected adaptation logic. So for time constraints, we focused. I will focus here only on the Wi-Fi connection for the single client and the Wi-Fi and LTE connection for a single client. So the metric we use. So the first one that is considered the most harmful for the quality of experience of a user is the number of rebuffering events. So this means that when the buffer depletes is created as told in the video, and I guess you have all seen this on YouTube when you have this little thing that spins indefinitely in the dark. And then the next one is average video quality, so it's quite self-explanatory. Then the number of quality switches, and then also the average quality switch frequency and the average quality switch variation. So this means the magnitude of the quality switch. And at last, we consider the total rebuffering time. So let's first focus on the video, the video over Wi-Fi. So the topology that we had were this, and we only considered this client connected to Wi-Fi, and then up to the video server that was serving the video up to 4K. So as you all know, if a loss occurs on Wi-Fi, it is handled by the endpoint, so either the client or the server. For instance, in ICN, when there is a loss in vanilla ICN, the loss is handled at the client because there is a timeout on the pit entry, and then the interest can be retransmitted. So, but with ICN, we can do better than that. We can have a mechanism that is called Wilder, that was proposed at the ICN conference in 2016, and Wilder is a mechanism that allows sub-RTT loss detection, and it works like this. It's an hop-by-hop mechanism, and what they do is that, so we consider two hop here, to one client and the access point, but it's agnostic to which one it is, and each hop will keep a track of a sequence number. So here the sequence number will be 3, and this guy expects the next sequence number to be 3. So when the packet that will be labeled 3 is sent, the packet is sent, this guy received the packet, it will check that the label is really 3, it was expecting 3. So everything is all right. It will update the expected sequence number to be 4. But then packet 4 is sent and is lost. And then packet 5 is sent and is also lost. And the next packet that goes through is packet number 6. And when this guy receives the packet label number 6, it will see that there is a discrepancy between the expected sequence number and the sequence number he received on the packet that just arrived. And it can infer from this that a loss has been detected and can send back explicit notification that a loss occur, and this guy can then resend the 2 packets that were lost. So here are the results that we had on this Wi-Fi experiment. So in blue you have ICN without Wilder, and in yellow you have ICN with Wilder, and in green you have the with TCP. So the first plot is selected quality at the video client, and here you have the buffer level. And what you see here is that without Wilder, when the retransmission at our endpoint in a TCP-like behavior, the selected quality with a client, by a client that is using ICN is 1 level less than a client with TCP. So this comes from the fact that TCP has a mechanism like fast retransmit, which allows faster retransmission. Whether in ICN we are just waiting for a timeout in the pit. And with Wilder, so with the loss retrieval in network, we achieve the same quality as TCP. So now on the throughput estimation. So the classical approach, as you all know, the throughput equals the size of the segment downloaded divided by the time of the download. With ICN, what we can do is we can estimate at the packet level the rate estimation. So this gives us a timely and refined estimation compared to the classical one. And we can do it only at the client, so we don't need to touch at all the server. And what we did actually is that we did a rate estimation every 50 packets, and the results are here. So you see that now without Wilder we achieve almost the same quality as TCP, and with Wilder we are 1 quality above. But there is a trade-off, because now we are more pushing on the network. So we are downloading at a higher quality, yes, but you can see that the buffer level is not really high, and the red dashed line here is the two threshold that delimits the 3 zones on AdapTech. Yeah, okay, I forgot. These experiments were done using AdapTech. So here you see that the buffer level goes below the first threshold. So here we are in the panic mode zone. So that's why you see drops here. So, so all of this to say that with ICN you can do more refined rate estimation, but then it allows you to use more of the bandwidth, but then you have less buffer, and this might induce quality switches, or even rebuffering if you are using another adaptation logic. So now, if we focus now on the video experience over a heterogeneous network, so here we consider the same client, but then it's connected not only to Wi-Fi but also on LTE. So with TCP, some studies have shown that MP-TCP can be harmful for the user experience. Especially when the 2 links are asymmetric, well, really asymmetric. And the simplest way to use both paths would be to do a load balancing per video segment. So that means that when you are downloading, upon the download of a new video segment, you will select one of the 2 paths and then stick to this path until the end of the downloading. With ICN, what you can do is you can do a load balancing on a per packet basis, and then you can have different load balancing strategy for given names. So this means that for a video segment, you don't have to pick one of the 2 links, but you can use both of them at the same time. And as a result, so again, you have the same type of graph that we saw before. So you have the selected quality here and the LTE split ratio here. And in red, you have the load balancing on a per segment basis. So what would the TCP do? And in blue, you have the load balancing per packet. So what we can do with ICN. So what you see here is that with a load balancing per segment, you see oscillation. That comes from the fact that the bandwidth available on the Wi-Fi is way lower than the LTE one. So when you are downloading on LTE, you can achieve up to quality 8, for instance. And then when you go back on Wi-Fi, you can only achieve quality 4, as we've seen before. So that's why you have oscillation, because you will take way more time to download like quality 8 on Wi-Fi, and then it induces oscillation. And actually, what you get is you get a quality of experience that is worse than using a single pass. So here only using LTE. And with the load balancing per packet, you see here that we get the aggregated bandwidth. So we are able to achieve the highest quality here. So for instance, quality 9. And the strategy that we used for this load balancing was to monitor the number of bits entry for each link. So we monitored that, for instance, if we have a lot of pending interest on the Wi-Fi link, this would mean that this link is overutilized, and then we will more likely send the next packet on the LTE link. And that's what you see on the split ratio here. So for instance, here we are using LTE for 80% of the time and Wi-Fi on 20%. So here is a summary of the main finding of this experiment. So what we did here is we took into account only the average quality that is displayed on the x-axis, so from 0 to 9, and on the y-axis we consider the number of quality switches. So why only these two metrics? Because in our setup there was no rebuffering event that were occurring. And so for the number of quality switches, the lower the better. So the red cross here is where TCP stands. So using only Wi-Fi. Then vanilla ICN, so using the bandwidth estimation on the segment level. So you see that it's doing more poorly than TCP. Then if you enable Wi-Fi Wilder, sorry, you get almost you get the same result as with TCP. Then if you use the bandwidth estimator on a per packet basis, then you get a better quality than TCP, but you get more quality switches because of the trade-off that I talked before, that I introduced before. And then if we enter the multipass land, what you get when you use load balancing on a segment, so what you would get with TCP, and that sorry. So you get still slightly higher average quality, but the number of quality switches is growing a lot because of this oscillation induced by the difference of the two paths. And then if you use load balancing per packet, what you get is a really higher quality and less quality switches, thanks to the aggregation, the aggregated bandwidth that you receive. So the result that we got still hold when we did a systematic validation, and so here are the results. And so now I can talk a bit about some video that we did. So this was presented at SIGCOM as a demo. And so I will show you the seamless mobility that is controlled by the client. So with ICN, when you want mobility, so for instance here we have a client that is downloading on the Wi-Fi, but then if he wants to switch on the LTE, then the client just have to switch, and instead of sending interest on the Wi-Fi link, it can just send it on the LTE link, and that's what happened here. And it's seamless. You don't see any degradation in the video. So let me just show you the video. So this is okay. So here is what you see. So this is this is the video player that we have, and you see some monitoring done here. And yep. Let me just stop it for now, just to present this. So what you see here in yellow, it's the quality that is downloading at the moment. And in green, you have the buffer level. And there you have, I don't know if it's really visible, what you see is a monitoring tool that monitors what we have in on the network. And you see, for instance, here, that it was downloading on LTE. So here I can just start. So here you see that it's downloading on Wi-Fi. And then at a given point, it will just stop downloading from Wi-Fi, so here, and then start downloading from LTE here. And you see, that you don't have any degradation in the downloading quality. And actually, you see that you do better because when you were on Wi-Fi, the buffer level was depleting because the segments, the video segment here were bigger because of the video. And now, with LTE, you are downloading faster and also at a higher quality. And yep, you got the seamless mobility. And the second video that I wanted to show is a video with caching. So still with the same topology, we had 3 cache. So the 2 access points here, the 2 edge nodes, sorry, we cache the most popular quality that we observe. So we'll see, sorry, you will see in the video that the 2 tablets are downloading at full HD, while these two guys are downloading at UHD most of the time. And in the second cache here, we cache the video segment of the second most popular quality. And so, if we look here, so here you see that you have the 2 tablets that are downloading at full HD. It's not really clear here. At full HD, and the two clients here are downloading at UHD. And at a given point, we will just activate the cache, and you will see that it will just download directly from the cache, and you won't see any more traffic going upstream the caches. So, okay, so now we have the cache, and you see that all the traffic is now at the edge, with each client downloading directly from the access point, and not from anything else. So you don't see any more traffic going upstream, sorry. And you can see also here, so here you have the upstream bandwidth, so in blue for LTE here, in red for Wi-Fi, and in green for the backhaul node. So now I can talk about a bit about what we are doing now. So first I will give the idea and the motivation of what we are doing. Then I will show the impact of the cache on the video delivery, and then the early result that we got. The main idea that we have now is to have the network help the client on the quality selection. So the short-term goal is to study the interplay of between caching and QoE. And then the long-term goal would be to implement the interfaces for the interaction. So how can the network tell the clients what to download? And for now, we are just studying simple extreme cases. So motivation of this is that we believe that the client only can make a wrong decision because it doesn't have a clear view of what's happening on the network, and the network has a broader view of the dynamic at play here. And so with a mechanism like this, we believe that we can have a more efficient cache usage and a better quality of experience at the user. So so what we did first is to assess the impact of the cache on the quality of experience at the user. So we deployed this topology. So we had 8 clients, four of each connected to a video server, using different capacity on the link. So for instance, the scenario that we have is here we have 80 megabits per second, here also 80 megabits, and here 45 megabits. And so the goal was to assess the cache impact on the user experience to see if it induced quality oscillation or something else. And so to do so, we used two adaptation logics. So the first one was AdapTech, and the second one was BBA. So I'll just talk about a bit about BBA. So BBA was introduced by Yuang et al. It's ICOM in 2014, and it's the simplest buffer-based adaptation logic that there is. So what they do is that they divide the cache into 3 zones as well as AdapTech. And the first zone is still the panic zone. So here you download at the lowest quality to avoid the rebuffering. Then in zone 2, the video quality, the bitrate of the video you will ask is a simple mapping, is a linear mapping of the buffer level. And when you're in zone 3, you download at the highest quality. And so here are the results. So here you see for all the clients. So on the left, what you see is a heat map of the quality per segment number. So so on the left is without cache, and on the right is with cache. And what you see is that it's a bit messy, but you see that, for instance, with cache, you have some clients that ask quality 5. So what we did then is to do a breakdown of this heat map. So this gives us this heat map. So on top you have the client 1 and 4, so connected with a bandwidth of 80 megabits per second. And on the bottom one is the 4 clients that were connecting with a bandwidth of 45 megabits per second. And what you see here is that the client that had the higher bandwidth gets a better quality from the cache, but still the other clients have improved also their quality. As you see, before they were mostly asking quality 2 and 1, and now they are mostly asking quality 2 and 3. And so finally, so we did some more experiments. So here we had 6 clients connected through Wi-Fi to a video server where we had a capacity of 60 megabits per second, and so we still we considered 4 different adaptation strategies. So the AdapTech and BBA, so which are at the client, and then we considered 2 network-assisted strategies that we designed. So the first one was a strict policy. So it means that the router will tell the clients what to download. And then the steering policy. So it's the client that should listen to the router unless the buffer level is too low, and then it will ask for the lowest quality to avoid rebuffering. So the scenario that we did is a proactive scenario. So before each experiment, 1 full quality, which means that all the video segment for a given quality is stored in the cache of the Wi-Fi access point. And the metrics that we consider were the rebuffering event, the average quality, the quality switches, and the cache hit ratio. So here are the results. So it's a bit messy. It's still ongoing work, so that's why it's not really understandable from here. So what you see here, so here you have we did 7 experiments. Upon each experiment, we stored a different quality in the Wi-Fi access point. So first we did with no cache, then we cached quality 0, then up to quality 5. And what you see it's actually here on the average quality. So what you see is that when for the BBA, for instance, here you can see that with the cache, when the cache is caching quality 3, for instance, you can see that with BBA the average quality is significantly higher than without cache. So you can see that the cache can add something to the adaptation logic, and that's what we want to dig deeper into. So to conclude, you've seen that what ICN can bring to video delivery. So first you have the in-network control, so with Wilder, for instance. Then you have seen that with a refined rate estimation, you can also improve the average quality, but you have to take into account that this can also harm the user experience because this can lower the buffer. Then you have seen also how the heterogeneous access is dealt with, for instance, with load balancing on a per packet basis, and then seen the video with the caching, and then what we are doing on the network. And finally, sorry. So this work was published in the IEEE Transactions on Multimedia last September. And we did a demo at SIGCOMM this year, and we did this February a demo at Mobile World Congress. And thanks for listening, and if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
I have a question about the moment where you explained that you could use WLDR. So it assumes, I guess, that the whole video flows across the same link to recognize the sequence number. But later you explained that you can use in parallel LTE and Wi-Fi. And so I was wondering what you were doing. Are you downloading the video, the complete video across the both links, or do you perform load balancing? Because otherwise I do not understand how you WLDR does work.
Okay, so let me just grab the slide. Okay, here. So actually what we do is that we have Wilder enabled here. And Wilder works just before you send the interest. So the load balancing is done before you do Wilder. So first you do the load balancing, so you select the interface, and then when you sorry. And then when you select, so you do the load balancing, so you select an interface, and then if you select the Wi-Fi interface, you will add the label, the sequence number on the packet when it goes to the Wi-Fi. So that way, only the packet that transits on the Wi-Fi link will have the sequence. It's post load balancing decision. Yep, exactly.
It's entirely independent from what you're sending. It's just per packet on a specific.
Okay. Thank you. So you said MPTCP can be harmful. Have you tried?
We didn't try. We read studies, and but we would like to try it. But we also focused on the caching part with the network assisted. So we didn't have time yet to try with MPTCP.
Caching strategy for videos. What are you really caching? You're caching a video segment at a given bit rate.
Yep.
And what is the caching strategy? It's just the popular ones, or is it?
And the caching strategy at the moment we are using is a simple LRU strategy.
Okay.
It's not a question, but I would like to insist on the quality of the technical work. I'm very impressed.
Thanks. Thanks. Okay.
No more question?
Nasty question.
So maybe let's